Right, it's a Friday before the Crusaders game. This is going to be our first feature on FAX TV, and I'm with Karl Harrison. Bare all truth, are we ready for Sunday?
Hopefully. We've had a good week's prep. We're a little bit down at Workington last week, but we've trained particularly well this week. The influence of Morel being back in the squad and Tonks has assisted a lot, and we're looking forward to seeing some old faces as well, and the Ashall brothers and Stephen Bannister, a bit of Halifax issue there, but we've trained particularly well, and we're after a good result, yes.
When it comes against these sides that we've not played as regular, like Crusaders, could be the first time we've played them, does it help having some of the old boys in the ranks so you kind of can do your homework a bit easier?
No, we prepare for every game the same, and we're well coached by Clive Griffiths and John Fieldhouse, and they're an indifferent team in North Wales. They went to Whitehaven a couple of weeks ago, win by 30 points, but they get beat by 50 points last week. It's a bit like the Championship. Nobody's got any sort of, apart from League, any level of consistency this season. It's a very tough division this year, and teams are fighting for every point. We found out at Workington last week how desperate they were. So we had the game won, but Alpha played particularly well, and their stats should draw right at the death.
Is it still a bit of a cliche at this part of the season where you're looking at other parts of the league, or are you just still concentrating on Halifax and Halifax only?
We focus very much on the group we've got. We've got a real good bunch of blokes this season who all work exceptionally hard and try and implement the things we do. We have changed things quite a bit in the off-season, the style of playing, this whatever. And we've shown glimpses of how good we can be, but also in the same game we've shown how poor we can be as well. I think we've unearthed a little gem in Ben Johnson. I think his partnership with Morel is going to blossom again. When the summer does finally arrive, I think we'll play okay.
With players like Johnson coming through, and I mean particularly players like Steve Tyrer have been playing excellent since the beginning, has that fitted in with your plans, or have you just had to alter it around that? Because obviously we brought Brownie in, and now Brownie's obviously now gone on loan to Batley, and we've got a few of the youngsters as well who you were thinking about coming through the ranks, and you've now sent them down to like all golds. Yeah,
the two guys, Miles and Jared, they've been excelling week in, week out in the under-20s, and they probably need to step up in level, play against some men rather than playing against some boys, and they both went down to Gloucester last week and both played exceptionally well. Jared actually got in the team of the week, which is a fair effort on his first go. We've also got Joe Martin coming through. He's an outstanding young fullback. He's been out with an ankle injury. He badly broke his ankle and he's sort of coming back, but I'm sure he will feature this season in the first team. He's that highly rated. Ben Johnson, yeah, he's been a surprise package. We sort of earmarked Paul Mennell or Ben to play half-back alongside Simon Brown and Scott Morel. Simon Brown's going to be a major signing, which has not quite worked for Simon, but a lot of that is because of the influence of Scott Morel in the camp, and also how well Ben's played, and we've sort of formatted and changed our rotation quite a little bit, and we decided to play with 2 pivots rather than 3 pivots every week, and it works better for us.
Obviously, when the season started, there was a hope that you were going to play Scott at 13, yes, or as a loose forward. Has that been detrimental to yourself? Would you like a dedicated 13, or are you happy with playing like Adamson at 13?
Well, I think the game's changed. Excuse me. I think the game's changed a lot, and we spoke to Scott Morel, and his favourite position throughout his rugby league career has been at loose forward. But the way the game's changed is most teams now are playing, certainly in clearance sets, with 3 front rowers on the field, and with us playing Morel in the middle of the field, we had 2 small men there. One was a knucker and one was Morel, and was losing a little bit of the meterage battle, so we had to go back for size, and to compensate for that we had to lose either Brown or Morel, and Brownie won't quite fit in the game plan, and Scott took over the mantle again. But we had to meet fire with fire and go with some size in the middle of the pack, especially when it was really heavy, the fields at the start of the season. That may again change as the season prolongs. We're not even halfway through yet, so there's loads of footy to be played.
Regarding Mennell, you've played him at 7 a few times already. Has that been a good thing because you've been able to bring Holden in? Or has Holden playing so well, has that messed with your plans a little bit more?
It's a squad game, and you know, Keith Holden is an outstanding young player, and he's had to be really patient. He came last season and just trained every single night. Never moaned, just got on with it. And when he got his chance at the end of the season, he played against Sheffield in the playoffs. This season we brought in two recognised hookers in Mennel and Ben Kay, and they've both gone okay. Keith gets his chance the other week because of Scott Riddell's absence and played exceptionally well at Workington and doesn't deserve to be left out of the team this week. So he will definitely be in the team this week, Keith. So that means Ben Kay or Paul Mennel miss out. That's just unfortunate. Young boys have got to be given the chance, and when they get the chance, they have to take it.
I mean, last year we had points where we were struggling in the hooking position. Do you actually have to take Paul and Ben to one side and say, look out, he's on his way? Or do you keep them to, boil down to their own pressure?
They all know what's expected of them, and they all want to play in the top team. And we did struggle at times in the hooking position last year. We were let down right at the death by Sean Penkovic when he decided to leave us and go to Leeds, so we were left with sort of Ashy. And we brought young Karl into assist, but it never quite worked for them two. They both played really well, but it never quite worked to take us as a club, as a team, to the really next level. That's why we sort of invested heavily in the pivot area this season. And I think Ben and Paul and Keith is a nice mixture, and they're all totally different. Ben's a really good defender. Paul's just a smart player, real tough cannon is Paul, and Keith's extremely quick and causes defences all kinds of problems.
How are you looking for Robinson coming back? Just before his injury, he was hitting quite a good bit of form, and at the moment you seem to have got used to the devotee. We've had Braycheck in there, and obviously Manu's always there. Are you looking forward to him coming back, or is it going to cause you a bit of a headache with positioning?
Robbo will be massive when he gets back fit again. He had the plaster removed last week, but he's not fully healed yet, so he's going to be at least another 4 weeks. He's been great for us, Robbo, real explosive. A different type of shape to the normal modern day back row, we're tall and lean. He's a bit more of a pocket rocket, to be fair, and a short squat. Very hard for defenders to get a shot on him. So he's real pop in the camp, and he'll take the club forward.
Regarding the different shape of players, how was players like Luke Ambler fitted in this year? Because he's a lot faster, a lot leaner, and it seems you keep him on the pitch a lot longer than you normally would, as compared to Tonks, who comes on like a battering ram.
Tonks is a more explosive player. He comes on really impacted into the game, makes his presence felt, where Luke was got himself fit this season. He had a few injury problems last season, couldn't train as well as he probably wanted to do, carried a bit of a foot injury and a back injury, but he's more of an endurance front rower, a little bit more like when I played, longer spells rather than short spells, and all the front rows we've got, they're all different. Like Ben Day's got a bit of a skip at the line and a pass. Andy Braycheck was just a workhorse, extremely fit, and we also put Robbins into that bracket as well. Again, similar to Tonka, explosive, but probably get a little bit more game time out of him.
So come back to Sunday then, so we're hoping for a dry pitch, fast game. Which
is not going to happen. We've seen this year, it's very heavy again. It's been horrendous weather the last couple of weeks over here, and but we would like a nice fast game. A lot of ball movements, see outside men getting some ball, but against the North Wales team, we also need to be real tough in the middle, and our big men need to get the team forward.
Looking forward to the game. Thank you very much, Karl.